And joining me now is Hakan Erdem. He's a historian at Sabanci University in Istanbul. Thank you so much for being here. Fascinating discussion around this. Why are people in Turkey so interested in knowing where they come from?
And that's to a certain extent is natural that people are yearning to learn their ancestors. Unfortunately, we don't have many records going back to the depths of history, but we still have a surprising number of Ottoman records that were made available now through this system that is called e-state. So people, just go and check and see for themselves, and people discover their ancestors, learn new names. That's amazing that, some people can go back in history to early 19th century, 1820s, 1830s, yeah.
It's fascinating. And you were saying it's a natural yearning to know where you come from. Yeah. But in the case of Turkey specifically, and I'm going to go back to the books here, David Fromkin, in his book, A Peace to End All Peace, published in 1989, said that in 1903, when the census was held, the last Ottoman census, 40% of the population was Turkic speaking, 40% was Arab, 20% were Kurds, Armenians, Greeks, so on and so forth. But most of the power, 70% of the seats in the port were held by the Turks.
You can debate the numbers, argue against them, but basically the Ottoman Empire had a large Arab population that were underrepresented, not only in the assembly, but in the population records as well, in the censuses. The Ottoman censuses were more or less taking into consideration the heartlands of the Ottoman Empire, the Balkans and Anatolia, and not all Anatolia as we understand today.
Southeast was
excluded, but all the way from Istanbul to Kars, Anatolia was counted for military recruitment reasons. The state was not interested in counting each and every person in 1831 for the first so-called modern census. Only those people who were eligible for the military service, meaning males and Muslims, and for those people, males and eligible for paying the taxes, these are non-Muslim males. Females were not even counted in the first census. In 1844, there was a change. Females were also counted, but the census itself was not nearly as thorough as the first one in 1831. So we don't have a regular census in the Ottoman Empire until 1878, even later.
So this new country is created, Turkey. It's inheriting all these records from the 1800s, 1820s, from the Ottoman Empire. But we see a break happen here as well, right? In trying to mold a new country, some names are suppressed, some others are given. There's a lot, there's questions about orphans who were given different names that can't trace their lineage beyond the 1920s, for example. Yeah. So tell us about this controversy.
Well, some scholars think that, this is a good opportunity to reconcile with the past for individuals, for individual people to discover their identities, their families' identities. So every now and then, people are able to find an ancestor, surprisingly, who is not Turkish. Okay,
and on this point, there's also this controversy that this data, as you said, they might not be Turkish, they might be Armenians, Greeks, whatever. Yeah. There's this perception or this fear that this could be used to discriminate, this data dump. These new revelations could be used to discriminate against certain groups or ethnicities.
Well, I don't think so. Only the converts to the Islam were counted as, the Ottoman Empire's Muslim citizens, and the records for the Armenian and Greek communities were kept by their own patriarchates. So, I don't see on what grounds there could be a discrimination. People, they discover a grandmother who is Armenian, so what? But on the other hand, I should also say that contrary to the expectations, this new tool, this new gadget doesn't solve all the problems of identity. You can't go back, beyond, say, early 19th century. And people are curious to learn about that too. I mean, for this you have to go to the archives and try to conduct a genealogical research on your own, but it is difficult.
As a historian, we've known the past. What does this mean, the survey, these revelations? How important is it, and what does it mean for Turkey moving forward?
It is important. I mean, it is human. It is important. I mean, I myself checked it and discovered
what did you find?
Some ancestors whose names I didn't know. And there are some also mistakes of census keeping or record keeping as well. So there's room for improvement. But
were you surprised by your own findings?
Not much. I mean, I knew even older ancestors than the records. So that wasn't a kind of that wasn't a kind of surprise. But I was able to learn, especially names of the ladies from the female side, from my mother's side, and they had excellent, nice names. And I mean, there's a lady called Mihri. I like the name so much, so I discovered a Mihri in my own lineage from my mother's side. So this is good. I mean, it's a good start.
Hakan Erdem, fascinating discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes.